For those that don't know me, I am Jessica Van Heveland. I am OCIO's Google Support Specialist. I'm really excited about today's training. We're going to go over all the Q3 Google Workspace updates that have been rolled out in our domain. So a few other items I just want to take the time to inform you of in case you're unaware is that we do have a Google Help-Iowa YouTube channel. You can access the YouTube channel by going to our Google Help website or obviously on the slide deck. Again, the slide deck is available in the Q&A in the live stream. But when you go to the YouTube channel, I'll go ahead and quickly navigate there. You will see it has several different videos there for you. You also have the capability of subscribing. Now I'm in a different account, but you would have a subscribe button up here in the corner, and you could click subscribe, and you'll be notified of the recent uploads that take place on this channel. The other item I want to take a moment to inform you of is if you want to take a dive deeper into a lot of the updates, not all of them, but many of them, you'll notice under the playlist, there is an option for you for 2023 updates. There is a playlist for all the updates. I'm going to go ahead and click on the View Full Playlist. You will then see we have 51 videos in regards to the 2023 updates. So you can sit back, relax, drink your coffee, and kind of get updated with all the Google Workspace enhancements and features that have taken place in the last year. So again, a lot of videos. I've updated, I think, 20 videos since last quarter. So please know that it's continuously being updated when needed. So that's an opportunity for all of you as well. The other thing is I'm going to go ahead and then navigate to another option that you have an opportunity to opt in. The state of Iowa Google users that are in our domain, we do have an opportunity for you to opt in to our community space. This is a replacement of current, so please be aware of that. But you can actually click on the Google Help chat space. You can find it on our Google Help website or in the slide deck. But this is an opportunity to receive notifications in an announcement-only chat space. So it is not going to bombard your current chat. It's just going to be like 1 or 2 or 3 chats a week, or sometimes none, depending on my workload. But you will be informed of the updates instantaneously when we see it in our domain. So you don't have to wait every newsletter that gets sent out or wait for the training. So it just gives you the capability of being in the know and what's going on within Google, and an opportunity for you to have that lifetime learner mindset and continue to grow. So that's an opportunity for you. I know I have some users that watch my videos that are outside the state of Iowa. That is not an option for you. This is just for state of Iowa Google users. I'm going to go ahead and continue on. So how is this going to work today? We're going to focus by each app, and we're going to start with the app calendar. Now, some of these updates will cross over and be an option in multiple apps. And this is a prime example. The very first one is actually Gmail and Calendar. So be aware of that. But kind of when we think of the app, focus on the app we're discussing, and then kind of visualize what I'm discussing in each slide. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the very first update. The very first update that has been rolled out is to negotiate time directly in Gmail to schedule meetings faster. This allows scheduling and creating events much easier. This works great for internal inside the Google Workspace domain and external guests. And in this case, for the state of Iowa, we have several agencies that are not on the Google Workspace domain. An example, DHS, government, or iGov, they're on Office 365. This new feature is going to help your calendar and scheduling for external users in those cases for sure. So you'll be able to offer times that you're available, and what the end user on the other end, vendors or other Office 365 users, will just be able to see your availability by clicking on the options that you had available, and then they can view their own calendar and determine, hey, 1 o'clock today sounds great. I will give you a quick understanding of this at the end. We'll do some demonstration. However, this is a really powerful feature, especially when you're working with people that are outside the state of Iowa Google domain. You also have a benefit to schedule events within the state of Iowa as well for Google Workspace. This feature, create an event, is something that it's been available within Google Workspace for quite some time. However, the location of creating an event has moved. This just gives you an easy way to schedule events with coworkers that are inside the Google Workspace domain. So again, this is one of those videos I would strongly encourage you to dive deeper into. As you can see, there is a YouTube video embedded in this slide. I would strongly encourage you to check that out and go into greater detail with this, as you might want to be aware of all the details of this update. This is a really good benefit to help scheduling with people outside for sure. Also at this time, I would like to remind you of how the slides work. We usually have a GIF posted inside here. If I have a video tied to that particular update, it's also embedded on the slide deck. And you'll notice at the bottom right-hand corner, there is a tips and tricks option for you. So you have that option right here. You can use that, or again, just follow along with the GIFs, and you can also watch the videos. Again, so a lot of options for you as you learn more about each one of these updates. So again, we're going to continue on and talk about the next update. We're going to focus a topic with chat. We're going to work with the app Chat now. Chat is a highly used application within Google Workspace, as we have replaced chat as our coworker conversation in the cubicle. Chat is our place that we communicate informally for the most part. Chat has also been updated recently to make more formal communications, such as the announcement-only chat space. So it can be both. Keep that in mind, but most of us are using chat as our informal conversation where we used to talk in the queue. So it's a great option. A lot of updates regarding chat. The first update regarding chat is to react to messages quickly in Google Chat. You'll probably hear me throughout today's presentation. We are becoming an emoji nation for some reason. Everywhere we go, we have more ways to react. I think that is to encourage our personality, our emotions in a more friendly way, and be able to express our emotions so we can understand how we feel about a particular topic or item or etc. So it is something you'll see a lot throughout this particular slide deck, but this is one of those examples that now you can react quickly in Google Chat. We already had the option to insert an emoji or a reaction if choose to, but this is what this particular update is. When you hover over a message, you will now see that you will find your most frequently emoji reaction. So if you are a popular thumbs up kind of person, you will have that option appearing when you hover over. So it just kind of makes it quick and easy to react to that particular message that appears in Google Chat. So that's just a really kind of a fun one, but you'll find that it is useful when you need to react quickly. The other one is declutter your conversations in Google Chat. This is kind of slightly confusing to articulate, so let me get this in an example form. So I'm a part of the Google team, so I would correspond with John, Chad, and Jolene quite often. Those are probably my top 3 people that I'm constantly chatting with. In that case, I would probably pin those 3. If you're unfamiliar with pinning allows you to kind of put them at the top of your list. Pinning is like your favorite. You really want to see that. So you can pin them. But then I might be talking to the app development team or the finance team or someone individually from that particular department, not an everyday occurrence. So if I talk to the finance department user, let's say Mickey Mouse, and I'm talking to Mickey Mouse, but I really frequently don't talk to Mickey Mouse, after 7 days, it's going to be moved down my list and it won't stay at the top of my list. So it's going to be the most frequent people you should see at the top. So be aware of that. So that's an option for you. But if you have your pinned ones, they'll still stay at the top. But again, those one-offs that you have direct messages and spaces will become inactive and move on down. So it just kind of puts your most popular ones, the most used, at the top. That's a really hard one to demonstrate. I do have that described more in the video format if you choose to watch that. So that is an option for you as well. And Google automatically kind of does that for you to help clean and declutter your conversations in Google Chat. This one I really do like. Now in Google Chat, you have the ability to see read receipts for messages in Google Chat and group messages. Now, this does not apply to chat spaces. So what does this actually mean? Let's give you another example. I'm going to communicate with John, and John and I are communicating via chat. I will now see, once John has read the message that I've sent him, I will see his little avatar, his picture, his Google profile underneath the message as it shows here in the example here. So I would see that he read that message. So I get to see that visualization that he read that message. It also works with group chat. So if I was talking to John, Chad, and myself, and we have a group chat, I'm not saying spaces, a group chat, I would then see that John and Chad both have read that message. It does not, if you'll notice here, it says that 20 people or more, it does not provide you that information. So if you have a group chat of 21 people in that group chat, it will not work. And also make note, it does not show in chat spaces either. So be aware of that. Again, a really nice feature. Maybe they haven't read your message, you're kind of waiting for their feedback. Well, they just haven't read your message yet. So then you can wait patiently as you wait. Moving on to the next one, hyperlinks to text in Google Chat. This was one of my favorite ones. You may recall in March of 2022, Google made a lot of improvements in regards to formatting ability, in Google Chat, like text color, bullets, underline, changing color, etc. Like made the ability to make your communication look more professional or more highlighting content using some of those formatting options. With this particular update, now Google has allowed rich text hyperlinks in Google Chat. So you can see in this example, you have the option to add text. So here's the long URL. You have the long URL that is pretty ugly in a text, but now you can use the text field here to actually make it shorter, cleaner, more compact, and easier to read. This is really helpful. This has been a really good update within Google Chat. I use this for our chat space that I mentioned earlier. I no longer have to see that ugly long URL for the resource that I want to provide in my chat, and now I can make it easier for my end users to read the message. Again, more compact and easier to read for sure. So again, a really good update. I really like that update. This one is not going to apply to us, but I do want to inform you. Google does allow up to 50,000 members to a chat space right now. Now that is not going to apply for the state of Iowa, but this could be useful for others. You do have up to 50,000 members. Again, there's some limitations. I would strongly encourage you to check that out. But again, a nice upgrade to be able to communicate more effectively, especially like broadcast announcements and etc. So that is an option for us now. The other one that probably will be a benefit for all of us is that you can now easily search for the members within a space. You can, when you are in a when you go to your space, you go to the drop down, you can click the manage members and you'll have an option to then search for them, and you'll be able to then adjust their settings if you are a manager or roles, or you want to send them a message if you're just inside there. So again, if you have that many, 50,000 or even 100, in my case, sometimes it's nice that you now have the capability of searching for a member, and you can actually send an individual chat directly from there as well. So it's just a really nice feature to quickly search within your members list. We're going to focus now on Google Docs. So this one is creating a custom building blocks in Google Docs. Now, I hope by now you've heard of the word Smart Canvas. This is a feature that's built on to our Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. It's a way to do many things within Smart Canvas. It's a great feature that's been added to within Google Workspace. This is a new building block in Google Docs. So this building blocks are examples of email templates and etc. This one actually lets you create your custom building block. So you have some flexibility to create your own building block. This is a great way to rinse and repeat. If you use a certain table every time in a doc, if you're a project manager, or you use a certain table or an email template for so many things that you have inside your Google Doc, you'll be able to create your own custom building blocks. So this is really helpful for reusable components. Also think of it as a template. And once you create this custom building block, the doc will be stored in your drive, and you can quickly update that Google Doc. So if you want to now change your template, you'll be able to do so quick and easy. This is another one I would strongly encourage. If you're like, what? This is better than sliced bread, I would take a deeper dive and watch the video as well. But this is a really good resource. And again, you'll notice in the GIF, they use the @ menu quite often. Let me see if I can get it to pull up. So that's an example of a table. They right-clicked, saved it, made a building block, custom made it, and then they use the @ symbol, which is a very popular thing that you want to be using inside docs and now sheets. You will then be able to insert your custom building block. A really nice feature. I'm improving table placements in Google Docs. Now, this was not a big one for me, but it's funny. This is the one I received reactions to when I posted it in the chat space. So this one must have been needed regarding table placements. So inside Google Docs, you can actually do some of the probably things that you may be familiar with in Word. Again, I wouldn't know, but I'm assuming this is what you would do. You now have the capability of dragging tables as the GIF shows. You can drag tables and put them exactly where you want. You have some formatting options that you have available now. You have quick layouts available in the table properties. You can adjust that as well. You can fix the position in a table and so much more. So you just have more flexibility is pretty much what this update is, and it probably works very similar to Word. Why I say that is also in the same update, Google has made enhancements, improvements with Microsoft Word documents regarding tables as well. So it should stay more consistent when you are using a Microsoft Word and Google Drive, and then you're opening it with the corresponding Google Doc. So a very nice update, I think, for those that like to actually put tables in a certain location or have more flexibility. You have that now inside Google Docs. Easily expand collapsible content in Google Docs. This is where I'm going to encourage users to try the pageless mode. If you have not tried the pageless mode, I would strongly encourage that. The pageless mode means that it's just a big white space. It's really nice. So with that, when you are using the pageless mode, which I will show you later, this allows you to collapse and expand your titles and headers. You're like, what is a title and headers? This is where I would say the other thing I would strongly encourage you to check out is paragraph styling. If you're unfamiliar with paragraph styling, I recommend that you check out, looks like I have 2 of these in here now, I need to fix that. You will need to check out the resource posted here as well. Paragraph styling is highly used for users that need to put content on a website. Paragraph styling is kind of a have-to when you're dealing with accessibility, but it's also more than just that. This allows you to link within a large document. And this is another benefit of allowing collapsible and expanding content, because if when you are in a large document, you can then adjust your view, and maybe you don't need to review that section, that header, that title anymore. So again, a really nice feature. I have actually used this. You'll notice on our welcome guide, we have that available for our new Google Workspace users. I use the pageless mode, and I use the collapsible option within Google Docs and paragraph styling. It just really can make it a very intuitive document for sure, and interactive. Another smart canvas concept is to gain some data or consensus from your collaborators with voting chips in Google Docs. So this could be like, I would use this in an example is, what topic do you want me to train on? Gmail, calendar, docs, etc. Then you guys as collaborators on that Google Doc could just vote on those custom emojis, as you can see in the GIF. And then you can see here, you'll be able to vote on how they felt about what topic I should train on. Or in this one example, preferred option, what type of activity. Now, so you're like, I won't use this, but you could. This could be just maybe it's a sensitive topic and you just want them to vote on it. Like, how do you feel about changing this process, or what's the next initiative? Instead of always having, the conversation, you could just say, hey, vote, and you can just kind of get things answered faster. So it's not just for fun. It can be used for business purposes. Google Doc editors, if you're unaware, Google Docs editors is considered docs, sheets, and slides. So these next updates do focus on all 3 of them. There are a few of these updates within the next category. It does focus on drawings as well. So just be aware of that. I will emphasize it per update, but we're going to change hats and we're going to focus on Google Doc editors. And again, docs, sheets, and slides. So the first one is enhancing tool discovery in Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. Again, doc editors. So So let me just kind of tell you something that I usually do when I train doc editors. I will ask the end users, especially hands-on training, I will ask the end users or the trainees that are coming in to tell me, let's take a tour of the file menus. And the reason I do that is because it is different than coming from office environment. But also, even for myself, it's good to just take a tour and review each of the menus, okay? Knowing that that's important, here's what Google must have realized too, is that they have now, you really don't have to look at the menus. You could go to the help icon in the menus in doc editors, and then you will be able to search for your menus and take action. So in example, in Google Docs, you might say change font size to 15. You'll be able to just type in that in this option up here, and then you'll be able to take action. Or maybe I'm looking for version history. Maybe you don't know file version or version history is under the file menu, but you know there's a capability of version history. You can then just type in the menu and type version history. It will take you directly there. Another example is, who was the last person that looked at this document? Then it'll take you to the activity dashboard. So it also allows you to do activate, find, and replace easy within this menu as well. This is a really powerful tool. I've already been using it quite frequently because things have changed in the menu options, and I struggle to find out where they're at because we're all creatures of habit. Change just takes a while to adapt. So this is a great feature to quickly find the actions that you want. I still use this, and I still use the famous right click. If you still can't find what you're trying to do, option 1 is to go to the new menu option up at the top left-hand corner. Option 2, highlight the content you're trying to do something with and right click on it. More than likely, you will be able to find the action that you're trying to take place. So be aware of that as well. Alternate text, image options. I don't want you to hear that alternate text was not available until this update. That's not what I'm saying. Alternate text has been available in Google Doc editors and drawings. However, they just made it easier for you to find. You can always highlight the image or select the image and right click. Again, right click is your other best friend. You can right click and choose alternate text as it shows here in the slide or in the image. But you also can go to the image options. You can always find the image options in the menu, or you can find it in the right click. So once you either locate the image options, you now have an alternate text box area inside there. So be aware of that. So you have the alternate text availability there for you. Again, just easier for you. Alternate text, again, is very important when you're dealing with accessibility. Gmail. Google Sheets now integrated with a mail merge in Gmail. So this is pretty big. This would be one I would strongly encourage you to check out the video, go in greater detail. There's a lot of things you need to be aware of if you're going to use this feature. This is where you can take a Google Sheet with some data, and you have their email and their name. You'll be able to do an individual mail merge concept. So for example, if you're doing like a billing report, and you want to say, thank you, Jessica. Below you will find your current balance, whatever, right? And the balance is going to be different for each individual recipient, right? So you can pull that data and make a mail merge. Now, what you do need to be realized is that you do have limitations. You have 1,500. You can't do this in a large scale. So this does not replace anything with GovDelivery. Does not replace it, but it does work for up to 1,500 recipients a day. So be aware of that. There is other things that you do need to be aware of, such as merge tags cannot be used in the subject line, etc. Again, if you are thinking about using this tool, I would strongly encourage to watch the video. With that, also testing it, making sure you understand the process. The other thing would inform you if I met with you individually is, what tool are you currently using? Then we kind of can do a comparison. If you are using Formule or Fixa, this could be a replacement for you. If you're using GovDelivery, the answer is probably no. So again, you kind of need to do a little research. But again, this is part of the Google Workspace application now. This is huge. This has been a wish list for quite some time, and we're happy that it is here. So now you have more flexibility and sending in individual messages with mail merge. The next one is forms. Forms, this is the only update I have for forms. This is just kind of a verbiage change. Google has now changed the flexibility to collect emails differently. Really, it's not differently, it's just different lingo, in my humble opinion. There's a few different changes with it, but not much. You have now verified email collection, which is previously known as automatic email collection, which is used really when you're working with forms inside the state of Iowa. Not very often do we do that. A lot of us are doing public form use, right? Maybe you want to put a form outside on the website, or you are just, because the end user you don't know has Google. So you would then probably choose do not collect. And I would strongly encourage you to check out the best practice for public use, because there's some ways around that. So it's just really under your settings. It just changes some of the verbiage. It's pretty much functions almost identically, except for verified. You do have to verify that's the email you want to collect. Other than that, it's really pretty much the same as before. But as always, I like to go one step further. And in this video that's posted on here, I dive deeper because I get this question a lot. What are best practices for collecting emails for public use? So it kind of walks through that process as well to kind of tie in with this update. So there's additional help there for you, additional tips. Next one is Meet. Now, Meet, I won't be able to demonstrate when we get to the demonstration portion of this training, just because I just don't have enough people to demonstrate some of these features. So I'll try to talk a little more in depth in each one of these updates regarding Google Meet. This one allows improved experience of admitting and denying join requests. Now, this would be an example if you had your Google Meet restricted or trusted, which I'll talk more about in a minute. And then you have turned, in previous life, it would have been quick access off, and you would have then had to allow users to ask to join, knock, right? Or knock in there. And it's kind of a semi-waiting room. So what happens is you have more ability to admit a whole bunch at all, admit them all or deny all. You just kind of have a mini little waiting room inside your people icon, and then you'll be able to admit them. The other part of this update is that it's just not intrusive on your screen. It used to come up at the top, and now it's at the bottom. So it's less intrusive when you're inside the Google Meet. So it's less, it's just not bothering you as much now. It's just showing at the bottom and not taking up good real estate in your Google Meet environment. So a slightly different option there for you. The other part of that, well, this is two-folded. I made this at one update, but you actually have a better experience with picture-in-picture. Now, maybe you're unaware that you have the capability of picture-in-picture in Google Meet. You do. Picture-in-picture is nice when you need to truly multitask and you're inside Gmail and you don't have multiple screens for sure. It's a really nice feature. So picture-in-picture just gives you more flexibility. Now, that's been around for quite some time now. However, what is part of this particular update is that you can do a lot more with it. You have the option now with the picture-in-picture to raise your hand, use the Google Meet chat, turn captions on and off, and resize your picture-in-picture view and have different flexible layouts. So just be aware of that. If you don't know where picture-in-picture is, it's at the three dots in your Google Meet, and then you can select, as it just shows you on the screen, you can do picture-in-picture. And you can always go back and forth. So if you're like, okay, now I really need to get back to the full screen of Google Meet, you have the capability of going right back into the full screen of Google Meet. So again, a really nice feature, especially in those meetings that you just don't have to be totally in tune with, but you have to be there. So it gives you more flexibility and ways to multitask. On this one we're doing right now on live stream. Again, this is a live stream, and this is something I've been waiting for quite some time, so I'm really excited that it's here. You have the ability to use polls and question and answers during Google Meet live stream. So we've already kind of talked about this at the beginning if you were on, but you can notice when you're in live stream at the top right-hand corner, you will find the famous activities window or icon, which is the triangle, the square, and the circle. You have that capability to then answer a poll, which in this case, a great way for me to get an idea of who's watching right now and what questions they might have if I submitted a poll, which I didn't in this case. However, it's a great way for you to ask questions as well. So again, more ways to be more interactive in a concept of a webinar. And a live stream is more like a webinar in a sense because it's only view only. You're sitting and you're getting, but this allows some interaction, which is helpful, right? Because you just kind of feel like you're talking to a wall. At least I know if there's anything on there I can assist you with, or maybe I need to articulate again. At least I get some feedback on how I'm doing, and so much more. Better control of meetings with viewer mode in a Google Meet. So this is 1,000 attendees. So I have to think of my audience here. This is not going to apply to many of you. Many of you do not need 1,000 people in your Meet environment. So keep that in mind. This is going to be the small amount of users, probably in the 20% range, that really care, if maybe not 10% that care about this update. This is regarding large meetings. So if you are one of those users that have to have more than 500 or more, I would encourage you to check out these resources because it does change slightly. We do now have the capability of up to 1,000. However, there are some important factors to be aware of when using the concept of 1,000 attendees. So in reality, after the 500 and 501 attendee joins, they will be only view only, but the 500 could be interactive. Now, I don't know why you would ever want 1,000 people to be interactive in a Google Meet environment, but it does have some important factors that you need to be aware of. So if this applies to you, like maybe you are trying to find a solution, then I would strongly encourage you to watch this and check out all the Meet resources we have on Google Help. This does apply to everybody for the most part. Simplified access control for Google Meet. So again, Google is changing some verbiage, and it's important to be aware of that. And you'll find probably some consistencies with other third-party apps. However, with this one, you may recall that we always talked about quick access before, but now it's changed to meeting access. So quick access was what was available before. But now it is now meeting access. So that has changed. So with that, what you also need to know with this update is that meeting access, the most used one will be trusted. So you will have the trusted be the default for any existing or new events for most cases. There has been only one ticket in regards to this. So again, I'm just going to give you the information that I think what applies to you is that you probably will realize you are now the trusted meeting access. So that really, in a nutshell, means you're managing yourself. You know who's supposed to be joining. If anybody that's outside the meeting will be asked to knock. But if they're part of the meeting invite, they'll just automatically get to come into the meeting. There's no hold up, and etc. If you ever do need to really restrict, or this is a really confidential meeting, I would strongly encourage you to change your meeting access to restricted. This is a very, again, this would be more in the 10% range that might feel that this should be restricted. But again, you do have that option if you choose to. And the last thing, this one has been an issue because they rolled over to these two different meeting access is, let's say you're having a vendor open door from 8 to 8:30 every morning. And you just, it's an open door meet, right? And you're like, anybody that needs to join, let's talk about what we need to do. That would be a case where you don't really have an invite. It's just a link that you share out and everybody comes from 8 to 8:30. This is where you might want to consider changing your meeting access to open. So a lot of people are like, if you're having a big implementation or an upgrade, this is where then you might want to like, okay, this link is open for any concerns, any questions. You'll want to make sure you have maybe open for that. Again, Google Meet has constantly made so many changes in the last 2 years, especially after COVID. And this is one of those enhancements that it really doesn't apply, but it's important to know how it's set up. So I have screenshots for you. I would strongly encourage you to check out the tips and tricks if you're like, I'm not following. Again, what I can say, I wouldn't worry about it if you haven't noticed it, to be honest. You are untrusted, which is exactly the same process as you can see here. By default, your guests are going to be able to join before you. And that's how most of us manage our meetings, is we manage ourselves. That's just how it is. So there's some rare cases, but more than likely, the 80% rule, most of us don't even know how that all works. And by default, your meetings will be trusted, and those that are invited will be able to join. The other thing is question and moderation now available for Google Meet. Let's be very clear. Question and moderation is available or has been available for quite some time. This just is another layer added to question and answer inside your Google Meet. You, again, have had the ability to allow questions inside Google Meet, but now you have some additional moderation availability for you. What does that mean? You can actually hide questions for the co-host or the host to finally approve. So this would be maybe used in a very sensitive meeting. So let's say I'm going to hide each question, and then the co-host or host can say, oh, that one's a good one. Ooh, we need to really think before we answer that one. I'm not going to show that one, or maybe that was just really inappropriate. I'm not going to display that question. So you just have an additional layer on top of the question and answer feature that you do have available. You just be able to hide each question until the host or co-host approves that question. So it's just, again, another layer of security. And this is just good for like large meetings or a very sensitive meeting. The next update app that we're going to discuss is Google Sheets. So with that one, we have a new one called Complete Data-Driven Tasks, Faster with New Smart Sheet Chip Data Extraction Google Sheets. That's a mouthful. So let's just break that down. Okay, we're going to focus on the Smart Canvas concept, right? And Smart Canvas has the options of people chips, file chips, event chips. Okay, so Smart Canvas, we talked chips, and now we have sheets, right? So we have that concept. So with that, we can now take the people chips, the file chips, and the event chips and extract the data from that. Okay, so as you can see, here's an example in Google Sheets. This is an example of people chips. You'll notice, since it's a chip, then you can extract the data. So I want John's email, John's name, his location, his phone, and title. So it's taking that chip and extracting the data out. So that's an example of a people chip. Same thing with the file chip. You can then extract the creation date, the last modified by who, last modified date. This gives you an idea. Like in this example, when I trained this in the video, was like, I want to know what was the last time I updated my Gmail training. Ooh, ouch, it's been like 2 years, or whatever the case may be. And I could be able to have a list of all my training documents. I'm like, I need to go back and update Google Meet, or whatever the case may be. So it's pulling the metadata associated with that smart chip and then puts it in its own cell, And same thing with the event chip. So it's a really nice feature, and then you just kind of refresh the data. So a really good, powerful metadata associated from each specific smart chip. So again, great feature, and Google even allowed it to be formulas as well. So if you don't like the little right-click option, you can also incorporate it and get the same information in a formula way as well. So again, you're like, what? Again, greater detail in this video. Timeline view. Timeline view, again, was launched in December of 2022. This is something that would be great for project manager, a task person, just even your own initiatives and goals. You have a timeline view in Google Sheets. So it's really simple. You have a sheet of data, you insert timeline view. There are some requirements such as dates and etc., but in reality, it's really as simple as that. So Timeline View has been here since December of 2022. However, since that update or that launch of Timeline View, you now have more capabilities, such as print and download support. You have ways to truncate it. You have options to undo and redo, and so much more. So again, Timeline View is a really good enhancement that has been made within Google Sheets. So I definitely check that out. And then obviously they're going to continue to grow on it. And this is an example of that update. As I said earlier, Emoji Nation, we have the ability to add emojis in Google Sheets. Again, I'm making fun, but it's actually kind of a powerful tool. You could say, not happy with this task, or I need to, you know, this is important with an exclamation mark emoji. I mean, there's ways to understand the purpose of emojis, but with that, you can now add emojis using the @ sign or go to insert emoji inside a cell. So again, nice feature. This also is a two-folded update. I combined them because they were both launched in a similar time frame. You have the option now, as you see in Google Docs, the famous @ sign. So you have the @ again, which is something you should be using by now, is the @ menu is available now in Google Sheets. It's a way to get really quickly access to what's shown down here, all the different tools like custom building blocks, drop downs, and etc. So custom building blocks is not in Sheets, but building blocks, tables, whatever the case may be, it's different in Sheets. I have to get that all cleared, but you have options to add those availability inside Google Sheets. So use the @ as well in Google Sheets. And again, you can use the @ and then add the emoji as well. So two-folded. I have also, in this update, if you haven't, like, I don't really understand what Smart Canvas is, I have updated the Smart Canvas slide deck. That is available for you as well, just to kind of understand what this whole concept is of Smart Canvas. So just think of it as an extra layer on your Google Docs and to continue to grow, just to improve efficiency and collaboration and so much more within your Google Doc natives. And many other things, to be honest. Sites, not everybody in Google Workspace in the state of Iowa use sites. However, those that do probably are like me, love it because it's just a great tool. Now, if you want to learn more about sites, you can go to the Google Help website and find the Sites app, and it'll tell you the process on how to have access to sites or so much more. But with that, I do have a few updates regarding sites. Sites has always had the capability of alternate text, so please, again, they're focusing on this and they're trying to make an improvement for accessibility. This is one of them. We've always had the option to do alternate text with images. I wouldn't say always, but we have had it for quite some time. Alternate text inside images, images inside sites, excuse me. So if you have an image on a site, you always had the capability of adding alternate text. However, with this update, again, additional understanding is that it's just the background images. So now you have the option to add alternate text to background images inside sites. You did not have that capability. So again, that is here. So just be aware of that option for you. This one is one of my favorites because you do like to rinse and repeat a lot within Google Sites. And so what they have done is now provided you a new button that allows you to duplicate groups and objects in Google Sites. So a lot easier than copying and pasting. So in this case, you will find when you have an item selected, you will see a new icon. So it's this little icon right here. You will be able to find the option to duplicate an item. It's just really nice. And it's images, it's buttons, it's text boxes, and so much more. So again, that just really can expedite your building and creation of your site. Again, Emoji Nation, you have the option to insert emojis in Google Sites. Actually, on a personal note, I have used this, so it's really helpful. But you can now insert emojis in Google Sites as well, so you don't have to go to Emoji Wikipedia and try to do it. It's just there for you in the option in your editing toolbox. So you have the option just to quickly add emojis instead of having to go to a external site, copy the emoji code. It's right there for you. You can do that directly in text boxes and headings. Slides. The next one is slides. It's replaced images quicker with Google Slides by a drag and drop feature. So as you can see, this is a picture of one dog, and then they're going to drag and drop into another one. So it replaces images. I'm not a huge drag and drop person. Honestly, I'm more of a right-click kind of person and choosing drive, so it's not very much I do, or I will actually go find it on my downloads. That's just how I am. I'm not a drag and drop person, but a lot of people do. I've learned that. Like, a lot of people like drag and drop. But what I do think, honestly, is that many of you don't know what replace images does. I'm thinking that maybe if you need to add a new image on a slide deck and you want to actually truly change it, you're going to go to insert image and then delete the old one and then do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Replace image is actually a different action. It actually will save you lots of time. It actually will save your formatting. It will keep the size. It will be if you had a border around it, it'll stay the border. So it just saves you all that formatting. So if you've never done replace image when you're trying to change an image, I strongly encourage you to do replace image. It doesn't have to be the drag and drop. Just use the menu option, replace image. If you want to learn more, obviously the video I talk about that, it's like two-folded, and it will come out in our newsletter on best practices of replace image. So with that, I do have a demonstration and try to walk through some of these as well. With that, would be the benefit of signing up for the Google Chat Space, because you might have noticed I'm using a new feature that's available in Slides. And so this has just been launched. You have a new option to turn on or off your pin inside Google Slides now. This was something that has just been recently launched. I was just waiting for it to show up, and guess what? It's here. So annotation can really help your presentation, and now you have that capability. And you would know that in a couple of days, because I'm going to post that in the chat space. So that's kind of why the chat space is there. You don't have to wait for the training to come out. So with that, I'm going to change gears here. I'm going to get ready for the demo portion of this training. So give me one moment. All righty. Okay, so today I'm going to try to demonstrate not everything. As I mentioned, definitely not going to train on you on Meet. I would definitely check out the slide deck. Again, if you're watching this video at a later time, you'll be able to find all the resources posted underneath the description. So be aware of that. So what I am going to do is going to try to go in order with some of these updates that we discussed in the slide deck. So the first one I want to talk about is negotiate time directly in Gmail. So I am in a persona today, Trainer 13, and Trainer 13 needs to schedule a meeting with somebody. I could obviously go to my calendar and do that, but let's focus on the new update that's in place. So I'm going to go ahead and click Compose, and I'm going to go to full screen just so you guys can see it better. But you can now see in your Compose window, you have an option of a calendar icon. You click on the calendar icon, you have the option to select offer times that you are free or create an event. So I'm going to show you what would work with especially vendors or non-Google users. So that would be oftentimes you are free. So I'm going to select oftentimes you are free. And then you notice that your calendar appears in the side panel. And then what you need to do first is just select the time that you are free. So I'm free from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock today. I'm also free from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock tomorrow, and etc. Once you have selected the dates that you're available, you can also select the duration that you want this meeting. So I decide I want it to be 30 minutes. Perfect. Awesome. And then you can then click next. And then you have some other options to add an event tile and say project planning. You can then add some more information, description. You can add a conferencing call and so much more. So once you have kind of like provided your details on how you want this event, you then, and availability that you have, you would click add to email. And I'm not going to walk through this entire process. That's why the video is there. But to give you an idea, what's going to happen is I would then send this to a non-Googler, or a Googler works that way too, to be honest, is then they would be able to say, oh yeah, February or September 1 o'clock works great. And then they would just walk through the process. So it's really nice. So it just quickly gives you your availability. No screenshots are needed, etc. So it's just a really nice live way to show and propose times, and then you can start booking it through the process in itself. So it's a lot less stuff. So I just want to kind of give you an idea where that's at. Again, if this applies to you, I strongly encourage you to check out the video. And the other option you have is the other one down here where we used to have in our 3 dots at the top, but we don't, is create an event. So you can create an event and you can say project training is the title. You can find a time. So again, you could find a time. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Cancel. And then you want to add your guest down here so you can find a time. So I'm going to add trainer 1. Is she available? Let's do trainer 2. So we can see that trainer 2 is busy at 3 o'clock today. So that's not going to work. So I could say, let's do 12 o'clock on Thursday. And we're going to hit send. And then it's pretty much adding an invitation there. And I would send that to those guests. So it's a really nice feature to work as well. I'm not going to spend the time to show you all on the back end of that, like how it works for the end user. That's a lot of toggling. But I just want to give you an idea how quick and easy it is to negotiate time directly in Gmail now, definitely for booking and etc. So we're going to focus on chat next, just a few updates with chat. So I'm going to use the Gmail integrated workspace and access chat through that. You can always go to chat.google as well to do the same thing, or use the chat progressive web app to access the things that I'm going to show. But again, I'm inside Gmail, which I think most of you access your chat through Gmail. So first thing I want to just quickly discuss is just to show you what the read receipts look like. So this is a message I sent to Trainer 2 on August 13th. You will now see that Trainer 2 has read that, "Hi, how are you?" That's an example of the read receipt. That gives you an example. Again, I've already discussed the limitations of 20 or more does not work, and it does not work with chat spaces. But I at least can see that Trainer 2 just didn't feel like talking to me on August 22nd. So that is just an example of the read receipts. I will not show you the declutter because this account doesn't have any, but I will show you just as an added bonus. If you click on the 3 dots, that is how you pin them. So your pins are your favorite people, to say it the best way. So they're going to stay at the top. So that's kind of off topic, but if I had more people, it would then declutter for those less active users. The other thing is the hyperlink. I'm going to show you that in the spaces option. I think Google is amazing. So here is a chat space. Again, it could be used anywhere, not just a chat space, but you can see this long, ugly URL. I want it to be more clear, concise, and a way I could do that is I could actually just show you what it would look like with the new rich text option. Is you can paste that in there just to show you for time constraints. And I can use the keyboard shortcut Control-K if you're on a Windows device, or I can then edit the link to add text to it. So I don't want the text to be displayed as the long URL. I would prefer it to be Google Help-Iowa website. That would make it cleaner for the end user to view. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply, and doesn't that look 10 times better? So that is an example of the rich text linking in Google Chat. The other thing is some of the management options that you have. So I'm going to go to this test one, and I'm going to go to manage members. So I'm in a chat space. I am in a chat space, which was formerly known as rooms. I'm going to go and click on the drop down, and I'm going to click manage members. And in the manage members now, you have the search capability. Now, this is not an example of a very large group or space. However, searching in a larger space would be very helpful. So I could type in Jessica, and then it just brings up Jessica's account. And then you have options here that you can do. I could directly message her, block her, change her from space manager. Depending if you're a manager, you would have additional options. If I was logged in as an end user, I wouldn't have, or a member and not a space manager, I won't have all these capabilities. But again, I wanted to show you what it looks like for a manager. So let's just show you, like, so if I logged in as trainer 1, I would only see message. I don't even know if you see block, but you have less options to do that. So just be aware of that. You have, this will be very helpful and a quick way to visualize and see your members and make adjustments if need be. So that's an important one. So now we're going to switch gears. I think I got all the chat ones just to quickly give you a visual understanding. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my drive, and we're going to kind of focus on some of the other ones. All right, let me view my, okay, so the first one, I just want to kind of go in order here. Custom blocks. So I'm going to go, I have a lot of samples here that I've worked on in the past. So I'm going to open up this document, and I want to kind of show you how to create a custom building block, which is a part of the Smart Canvas concept. So as you can see, I have already inserted a table, and I use this table all the time. I want to use it in almost every document that I use. So I could be anything. It could just be text. It could be anything. It could be it could be a picture. It could be anything that you have inside a Google Doc. So don't think it has to be a table. So please hear me on that. That's just an example that I have created. So what I would do then is, I love this concept. This is amazing. I use this all the time. So then I can right click, is kind of the way I do things. I would do right click, and I can see then I would highlight the text that I want to customize, and then save a custom building block. So I'm going to go ahead and save a custom building block. Then I need to make a very powerful, very unique name. So I'm going to say project tracker because that's kind of what I made. I would add a description in most cases, but I'm not going to today. So I right-clicked, save as custom building block, and I'm going to hit create. So now what happens is, got it. Okay, awesome. So it's 2 days from now. I'm moving on, and now I'm like, hopefully it's there. It takes a little bit sometimes. I'm making a new document. I'm like, okay, my brand new project is Google training. I need to get that template in here. So what I would do is I would hit the @ sign, and I would go to my building blocks, and you will see it just sometimes does take a minute. So let's be patient. I'm going to refresh one more time. So I'm back into my brand new document. It's 2 days later, and we're going to hope it's there. And it is. Awesome. So I'm going to show you that again. So it's 2 days later. I got a new project, and I need to make a new project tracker, and I want to use that template that I created. So you'll notice under building blocks, there's a new one, and it's got the little custom icon. That is the same document that I have just created earlier, and that's my template. So I can actually adjust directly, edit the custom block going directly here, but it's good to go. I don't need to adjust it. It's perfect. So I'm going to select the project tracker, and there it is. Everything that is there is now ready. So now I'm ready to work on my next project and etc. So I have now added that content in there. Now, if I really wanted to, I could have edited that template directly where I just showed you. However, I do want to take this moment to show you that all your custom building blocks are stored in Drive. So if you would go into your Google Drive, you will notice there is an auto-generated new folder called Custom Building Blocks. If you've used the custom building blocks, you have this capability. You'll notice I have a few of them here. And this project tracker, if I decided I don't need the text option to show anymore, it is not going to be there. On my brand new, on my new document, it's not going to change the one that I already did. So notice it did not change the test one. It's still there. But if I actually go to docs.new and it's now 3 days later, or whatever the case may be, I can now type in that project tracker, and notice this time that text is no longer there. It's updated, it's fresh, it's new. So I have a new template as I go through. So that can really save you a lot of time. Actually, the video I made goes into other ways to use this, such as using Google Drawing and greater detail. So that just kind of gives you a sneak peek of what custom building blocks do. But I would want to make sure you're aware of that. The next one is tables, the table placements in Google Docs. So this is a great transition. This is a table. So I'm just going to right click, and I'm going to on that table and select table properties. You will then notice, and I'm not going to spend much time on this, but you have different layouts that you probably used to in Microsoft Word. So you have more ways to organize your table. Again, right click with tables is your best friend. You have a lot of options here for you. So be aware of that, but you can now, I believe, adjust the quick layouts that way. So again, that is there for you for those that just love tables and need more flexibility. The next one is, I'm going to go back to my Drive, and I'm going to focus on collapsible text. So here's an example of paragraph styling. So I'm focusing on the update, easily expand, and collapsible content in Google Docs. Well, the first thing we need to talk about is this in pageless format? Because that's not available in normal view. This document right now is not in pageless format. So how do I adjust it to pageless? Again, I strongly recommend for you to check this out. It gives you 10 times more real estate and flexibility. So to change pageless format, you can go to File, Page Setup, and you can now change it to pageless. And I'm going to hit OK. Look at the real estate. Doesn't that look just cleaner and nicer? So now you'll notice I have collapsible headers here as well. So I am done. If this was a module of some sort, I could say, all right, I have kind of visually, I'm done with objective 1. I'm ready to focus on objective 2. It just gives you a cleaner way to read the content and more real estate, but this expandable collapsible header is nice. This is where you have to know header rows and paragraph styling, which I'm not going to spend time on, but if you need to, I have already showed you where that resource is. So again, I strongly encourage you. It is a great tool within Google Docs. Let's go ahead and go to the voting example that I have for us. So in voting, again, this is an example that I have. I already inserted a table. I have already inserted emojis here. But so what this looks like is then people as collaborators can vote on this concept. Now, it's just me on this document right now, and the only one that has access to it right this minute. So I'm the only one that's voting, right? However, how do you add these amazing voting chips inside your Google Doc? Same thing. We're going to use the famous app menu. We're going to use app menu. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to add voting. And you will see a new smart chip called voting. And then you can pick your most popular ones that you've used, or you can customize a voting chip. So if I wanted something that says, do you think you're going to meet the deadline? So I'm thinking a stop sign sounds kind of good. That's a no. And then I think possible yes. Let's do voting chip again. And this time I need something that's green and means go. So this is my question. Do you think we can meet the deadline? This is a prime example you can use an agenda. You add a voting chip. Some people might say no, and some people might say yes, right? So you have that option. So you can always find some of these things under your insert building blocks as well if you choose. So be aware of that. Let's see. I'll show you alternate text with this image since it's selected. So you can right click and you can always choose alternate text right here. So again, this is in docs, sheets, and slides and drawings. You have this option. I'm just going to show you in docs. So again, we're focusing on an alternate text option. So right click some more. You have alternate text available for you. And if you're a keyboard shortcut, you can see that there's a Control-Alt-Y to get access to the alt text option. So that's one way. But what's new with this update is you have the option to do image options. Again, image options appears here, but it also appears in your toolbar. So if you click on the image options, you will then see you have an alternate text box to add that into your Google Doc for that particular image. And you will see there is advanced options as well. So for those that want to learn more, you can definitely dive into that area for you. We need to talk about advanced tools within Google Docs. So let's go, I'm gonna find my other document. So this is where I mentioned you don't have to know the menus anymore. And I'm not gonna show you in every Google Doc native, but the concept works the same. So this thing I'm gonna show you next works in docs, sheets, and slides. So this is back to the enhancing tool discovery, where you don't have to know where everything is at. You just need to know where the enhanced tool discovery option is available for you. So let's talk about that. Where is this famous tool that I keep talking about? Well, it's one option is to go to the help menu and you can click search the menus. So that's available again, docs, sheets, and slides. Same concept. Find the help, do that. If you don't want to use the help, that's fine. You can always go on the left-hand side of your toolbar and you'll find the option to do search the menus. Again, keyboard shortcut people, there's an option, Alt plus /. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the magnifying glass, and I am thinking we need to increase, no, let's do this again. I'm going to highlight this first. I'm going to highlight the content, and what action am I trying to take? I think I need to increase the font. Okay, increase the font size. Awesome. So it did that, right? Let's go ahead, and I need to change this to pageless. Okay, awesome. I need to change this to pageless. It automatically changed it to pageless. Let's see. I need to look at the version history. Okay, see version history, took me directly to version history. So I don't have to know that file version history is here. Do you see how much time I just saved by typing in those keywords? So again, a nice feature. Maybe I want to find the word find. That's an option too, brings me up to find. So it just has a lot of ways to enhance your discovery of what you need to do. And this works again in sheets and slides. So in sheets, you do like freeze row, conditional formatting, etc. So this little magnifying glass is there, and it's more powerful than just what you think it is. So definitely, I've already used it quite frequently. It saves me tons of time. So I want to make sure you're aware of that update. Okay, so one of the sheets update is the data-driven where you have smart chips. So with that, so here's a spreadsheet where it has people chips, file chips, and event chips. So this is where you can now extract the data. So I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to select data extraction. And you can right click and choose data extraction. I have the chip selected, which I have John selected, and then I have a pop-up appear, or the toolbar appear on the right-hand side. And now I can select the fields that I want to populate. Well, I already have email, name, location, phone, and title. I think I want them all. Sounds great. Extract it. Go for it. Perfect. Notice then it has actually a formula. You could use the same thing, equals A2, and then dot location. So it's actually a formula as well if you don't want to use the right click or use the data extraction option. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But the other thing, since it is a formula, I can just then drag it down, and notice it's doing that for each one of those chips that I have in column A. So isn't that so cool? So now if I had a smart chip, I could then have John's email, Chad's email, and Jolene's. I just want to show you the file one because I do think the file one's really nice. You can do the same thing, right click on that smart chip, choose data extraction, or you could go up here to the new option and type data extraction and not even know where it's at, and voila, it's there. So you can then decide which ones you want. I'm just going to select a few of these and hit extract. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, if the document was updated, so notice the date modified is 7/26. If I actually updated this document, I'm not sure if this one is. Let's say I remove Alvin today at 9/27. Then you can then go back, do the same thing, data extraction, refresh, and refresh all. And then you'll notice that the last modified date for the one that I removed Alvin was 9/27 today. So it just allows that really nice and easy way. So data extraction, and then you have the option to refresh the data as well. So same thing works for event, but I won't spend time on that one. The next thing is in timeline view. So let me pull you up on timeline view. So I have a timeline view here. With timeline view, you do have to have a spreadsheet and you have to have a date. And I don't think it needs an end date, just need a date. Again, you can customize it. This is an example of a communication plan, what format, what's our subject, who's responsible for creating it, who's responsible for sending it. The first thing you can do is if you don't know where timeline view is, obviously you have this little magnifying glass now, but you can go to insert and you can find timeline view. And then you would select the data range, which in this case is A1 to G7. It kind of automatically uses artificial intelligence. That sounds correct. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can see then it puts it in a timeline view. You have options to adjust it. Some of the new features that you have now is undo, redo. You have ways to text truncate it, and so much more. You have settings, and again, you have more options here. Let's stay on this sheet for a second. The other thing you can do is now you have the at menu. You can do the at menu in Google Sheets, and then you have the dates, the building blocks, and etc. The other emojination thing that you talked about, you have the option to do an emoji. So if you want, you can add emoji. If it helps if you type it right. Really helps if you type it right. So you can select an emoji. Okay. All right. Okay, select emoji. Yes, let's do that. Well, let's try this way. Let's refresh. There we go. So you can add emoji, or you can go and do the tap or type in the @, and again, select emoji, and then you can add it. I'm going to add a frying face because I'm struggling here. So you can do the @ or go to insert emoji. The other thing is in sites or sheets, excuse me. I think I got those. Timeline view. Yep, distraction. And then like the last one is sites, and then second to last one is sites, and then the last one is slides. So I'm gonna go back to my priority, and I'm gonna click on this. I think, yeah, I have a site in here. So again, I love sites, but one of the biggest one is that you can actually duplicate. So when you hover over an object or an image or a group text, like this is a group text, it's got the image and the text. So I'm in sites right now. You'll notice you have the option to duplicate the group. Again, a huge time saver. You might not think it is, but it is. Same thing, if you just have an image, you'll be able to duplicate it. You think, well, it just saves you a lot of time, because it just really does. I can't explain it. It really does. So the duplicate is a nice feature. You also notice now if you click on a text box, you have a new option to add, yes, that's right, an emoji. So yeah, so you have that option. Those are the site updates. I won't go over the background, alternate image, alternate text, but you have that capability as well. And then the last thing I want to show you is to show you how to replace images, because I think this is like a better than sliced bread. So here I have working on my next quarter updates, and I'm on the Google Docs page here. I'm in slides, and replace image works the same concept in docs, sheets, slides, and drawing, the concept of replace image. So what you can do then is you can always have an image. Notice this particular image has a border. It's the exact size. I can right click and choose replace image. I can select from Drive, or I can upload from a computer. If I go to, and I can select my docs image that I want. Awesome. So now notice everything is the same. It's so much better than insert image from computer and then trying to notice the difference in size. So it just keeps it, the formatting, the same. The actual update though allows you to drag and drop. That's the enhancement, but I wanted to show you how replace image really is a really cool feature and how it can save you so much time.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and learn more about Google Workspace. Don't forget to check out the description below to learn more. Thank you.